Hello. If you don't know who I am, my name is Gavin, and this channel is my attempt at bringing back everything about becoming a gentleman that I feel has disappeared in today's world. I wanted to make a new, just separate series from what I'm already doing on this channel. So if you haven't checked out my other videos, check them out. Let me know what you think, because basically the purpose of the channel is, like I just said, right? I'm on my own path to becoming a gentleman. I feel like there's certain things we need to bring back that have just completely, disappeared in today's world. I think there's a lot of things that would benefit men as a whole. And today I had a topic I wanted to talk about. Every morning, I like to just write things down before I open my phone and just start scrolling on social media. It's very good to, regardless of what it is, I don't know, just get ideas out of your head, get things out of your head before the social media and the algorithms basically take every idea. And I feel like if I wake up and I instantly scroll and I instantly fill my brain with all this knowledge, I get so hyped up. And time after time, I found that I've had these amazing ideas and then I've completely forgotten about them because I've been just consumed in other things on social media. And it really affects your brain. It affects your creativity. So today I wanted to talk about like how you really don't need social media as much as you think. Like you're really not missing anything. I think a lot of people, the reason it's so addicting is because they feel like if they stop doing it, right? If they go out of social media, if they just stop using it, they're going to miss a bunch of things in the world. And I'm not saying to completely remove social media because obviously, I'm building a social media page. It's not that social media is 100% bad, but there's good and bad to it. So that's kind of what I want to discuss today. I had a few points I wrote down, and one of the things I wrote down is just the good and bad of like the manosphere content. So I'm talking about the content like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Justin Waller. I don't know. Those are just names that are coming to my head. But watching these videos at a younger age, I think I first came across them when I was about 17 or 18. And they were saying stuff that I felt like was true in the moment. And I feel like recently I've almost been trying to stop that mindset, right? Like it's infected my brain in a negative way. And there's a lot of positive that comes with that sort of content. So I can't say it's all negative because I did get a lot of good things from it. It is important to, work out, stay in shape, work extremely hard as a man, stay, disciplined, control your emotions. So there's very good things you can take out of it. I think there are a lot of negatives though that affects your brain and it makes you think, regardless of the message they're saying, maybe they're not saying this and most of the time they're not because you kind of just have to read through the lines, but it's still in my brain registered as like, don't love women. If a woman doesn't, don't fight for a girl, whatever. And, I think that's something we might be losing today is love, love for partners, true love. And my mom made a good point the other day, actually, when I was talking to her. And she said a lot of the stuff she sees is almost just for social media. And that was a good point. It's almost as if people are getting married or finding love just so other people can see it, right? It's almost like not true anymore. And I think it is somewhat up to the guys to get out of this whole mindset of like, you can't fight for the girl. I mean, from the beginning of time, we've been fighting for women. We've done everything for women. So women are extremely important and we can't pretend like they're not. And obviously don't be, weird about it. Don't chase her to an extent. But if you care for the person, if you love a person, there's nothing wrong with showing an effort and going after that person. It's almost like you're giving up, And again, you have to take this with precaution because if you can tell she visibly doesn't like you, then there's no point. And then you're just kind of going to look like desperate, whatever. But if you feel like there's a chance, there's nothing wrong with following your heart on that side. Love is a beautiful thing. So that's one of the points I want to talk about. And another point. So people on social media, they are just trying to really get attention. So that's why a lot of the things can get like distorted in what they're saying and the message they're coming across because they'll say things very openly and very loud, almost in a way of just getting attention, right? Getting more popular. The more popular, the more money they make, blah, 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 right? So you got to be careful. That's why you don't necessarily need more social media. Another point I had down is that living your own life is really the only way to truly progress. And what I meant by that is I feel like I get caught in this too, is I look at social media for the answers to my problems, when in reality, I just have to live life. And if you look at a long time ago when we had better morals, better ways of living, better style, men cared about, and again, that's part of this channel, right, is bringing that back, but men cared about how they were perceived out in the world. It was a true art. And even though, there's, again, good and bad about it, right? But overall, they lived their own life. They didn't have the social media to compare their problems. They lived their own life. Whatever problems they had, they experienced it and they got over it. So I think that's a very important topic to go over, because it's so easy in today's world to get so consumed in other people's lives, other people's lessons. And the thing is about that is it's okay to believe in these things. If you truly believe in what the person's saying, it's okay to follow it. Does that make sense? But I think sometimes we think just because someone on social media has more money than us, or they show they have more money than us, it almost makes us feel like they're right and they're 100% right. Whatever they say is the 100% truth and nothing else, right? I don't think that's true. Like we're all humans. We all experience things differently. I think if you went through life and you started living more like pattern recognition, that didn't really make sense. But if you start living and looking more for pattern recognition in your life and not relying on social media to solve problems, like I said, you would actually become more confident as a man. You would have different opinions, because your opinions are only being based on what you are physically seeing in the real world. What you're seeing on the screen, you don't really know the person, right? Some of it might not be real. That's part of the reason I want to make this kind of series, is because this is me. Like, this is the real me. Like, you guys are just seeing me like through a screen, right? But I'm not doing this to, enact a huge reaction. I'm doing this because I want to cultivate a specific niche of men. And I want to, in the future, build a networking community with these men that want to bring back the classic masculine way of life, the slow life. And again, it's not about removing technology completely, but it's about using it to your advantage. Does that make sense? And, where social media is really hurting men is that, from the beginning of time, men who have gotten together and formed a belief on something that was firm and formed an opinion that was firm, they are a very powerful force, because it's hard when you get a group of men together that are dedicated to a certain belief and an opinion and they want something, it is very hard to break them up. There's a loyalty there. And as guys are getting more feminized, as the world is becoming, as gentlemen, I'll drop my pen, as gentlemen are disappearing, right? It's getting more feminized, and this isn't, any offense to women, obviously, but in general, women are more emotional. They're a little bit easier to control when it comes to social media, opinions, things like that, than men are. So how do you solve that problem as a guy who's trying to control, right, the world, let's say? How do you solve that problem? How do you gain more control? Well, it's by making men more emotional. It's by removing the morals, the values, and everything. And that's why you see today, we're not dressing up with intention anymore. We're not loving really anymore. It's all this, bullshit, toxic, whatever. And, I don't think masculinity is toxic, but it gets to an extent. So it is very easy to control men when they are more feminized, because they're more emotional, right? And it's easy for them to feel depressed, right? Because we need structure. We need these values. We need these morals. And we need higher standards, right? Like the manners, how we dress. And I think we'll become more confident in the ways. I think men they need a purpose. They need a structure. When everything is too free for men, when everything is too free, they get to do whatever they want, things start falling apart. We get too animalistic. We get too comfortable with disregarding our standards, because when we don't have a structure, it's almost like, for example, if you didn't have someone to teach you good manners, or you didn't have someone to teach you to clean, right? Your house would probably be a mess. You'd probably dress like shit, right? So it's important that men have a structure. We're taught a structure. We need a structure. And I believe that's where the classic, the gentleman, right, style of life and the slow life, right, is important. And not in a slow life where you're not working, but a slow life where you're more in control of your life. You're not letting social media dictate your actions. You're not scrolling instantly in the morning, getting all hyped up, right? You're more of in a controlled state. And the more controlled you are, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, a calm mind is a powerful mind. And it's very true. The slower you live, the calmer, the more confident you are, you'll be more successful overall. You'll be better in your relationships. So social media is really hurting that side, and it's not all bad. But I think the key thing to take from this video is that take social media for what it is. It's a way of people to communicate their opinions, their thoughts. It's a way for people to get together. At least that's what it should be. And when you look at certain people and you take advice for certain people, take their advice. And again, if you really believe in what they're saying, believe in what they're saying. But if you don't believe in what they're saying, you don't have to believe. Just because they have more money than you, just because they have more status than you, you don't need to believe. You are valuable in your opinions and what you want in this world. Become more structured. Have a higher standard for yourself, right? Be more of a gentleman, okay? And every man is a man, but not every man is a gentleman. It takes a certain degree of control, right? Of awareness, really. I mean, really what it comes down to is awareness of you and other people. So I just want to make this quick video. If you guys enjoy this sort of content, leave in the comments below. And I would love to read your comments about what you think about, how the world is going and, how you should use social media. And besides that, that's all I got for today. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you gents in the next one.